We're live.
Hi, Chris.
It's 7 o'clock on April 4th, 2022, and this is Hamlin Town's planning board meeting this month. And let you know, emergency exits are out the door to the left and the right down the hall. There's an AED if needed across the way. At this time, we'd like everybody to turn off their cell phones or pagers, except for Mark, because he looks stuff up. And we'll get going with the meeting. Roll call.
Linda DeRue. Here. Steve Law.
Here.
Dave Martin.
Here.
Chris Schleider.
Here.
Mark Hellerstein.
Here.
James Nesbitt.
Here.
Steve Hittner.
Here. Okay. Okay, very good. Has everybody had a chance to look at last month's meeting? And anybody on staff or anybody else have some corrections? Additions? Deletions? If not, motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the March 7th planning board meeting. Minutes.
Poll the votes, please.
Linda DeRue.
Yes.
Steve Law.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Abstain.
Chris Schleider. Mark Hellerstein.
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Okay, can I have proof of public hearing read for Mr. Jonathan Ross, 20 Welch Avenue?
Public hearing for special use permit for Jonathan Ross, 20 Welch Avenue. Application of Jonathan Ross, owner Jonathan Ross, seeking special use permit to operate a fishing tackle business located at 20 Welch Avenue, Holly, New York. This business is planned to be housed in an existing outbuilding on the property. This is an RL, residential low density zoning district. Tax account number 019.04-2-15. All interested parties will be given the opportunity to be heard at this time.
Okay, so that being said, we're gonna open a public hearing. John, if you'd like to step up and explain to the folks that are here tonight, what your plans are, and we'll take it from there.
Any of my neighbors here? Nope, okay, well, I got a house that backs up to 18, built a building, 500 square foot, I'm opening up like a mom and pop tackle shop, seasonal.
Okay, anybody in the public have any concerns, questions? Okay, that being said, I'm gonna go through staff and we'll have some of our comments. JP.
The things we spoke about last month, you know, that the driveway entrance onto Route 18 would require state approval. And I think the discussion was you'll just use your driveway. So if that's resolved, the only other thing, you know, it's a commercial endeavor, even though it's albeit small one. Whether you know we have addressed parking and paid parking area, ADA parking, but with the you know we understand the use and number required is minimal. So.
Okay.
Yes, the issue is that fish tackle business is not on the approved list of home occupations. There is a provision in the code that authorizes the board to find that this type of business is so similar to the permitted ones on the list that you could allow it to go forward with a special permit. So if you decide to approve this, you'd have to make a finding that it's of similar character. I have nothing further.
Okay. Sure.
I have no concerns.
No, I don't have any concerns because I think it would fit within what we have.
seeing as we've had fish and tackle shops in the area, and it is considered a kind of an auxiliary use for a municipality that has a lot of lakefront and a lot of fishermen's use.
We approved the archery business before, the gun shops too. I think it's similar, as, you know, we can justify it as a board.
Looks good. Yeah.
Steve?
I assume that it's only a private lesson on how to use a fishing rod, you teach them.
What, I'm sorry, what was that?
Can I assume that it's only a private lesson on how to use a fishing rod, you teach them?
Absolutely was, sure.
So is that problem clear?
Yeah.
I don't have any concerns.
Jim?
No, I'm good. I appreciate you coming here. I'm not a fisherman, but I think the fishing in the community brings a lot of money into town. You know, you can see the boats at the gas stations and stuff like that. The only question I did have is, are you gonna talk any live bait? You gonna have, like, minnows or
The
worm?
bait that I'll have is frozen. Probably won't be live, but my girlfriend Tara, she's been Googling how to raise night crawlers and build a night crawler bed out of these plastic bins. Put them in the basement, keep them. If she wants to go for that, I'll put a little mini fridge in and put night crawlers in. I'll have a night crawler.
So you're not gonna have tanks out in the backyard?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay, very good. To be in line with what our planning board attorney talked about, I would like a member of this board to make a finding first before we go through the secret process.
Can we close the hearing?
And we can close the hearing at this time with no further questions. Let's see.
I'm gonna make a motion that the Hamlin Planning Board on Monday, April 4th, finds that the fishing tackle business is similar in nature to other permitted uses within the town.
I'll second it.
Call the voice, please.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Yes.
At this time, I'd entertain a secret decision.
Make a motion to declare this action unlisted action under seeker.
No, actually, that'd be type 2.
Type 2?
Yeah.
All right. Type 2 negative declaration with no negative impact on the town.
I'll second it.
Call the votes, please.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Yes.
Okay,
Make a motion for permit.
before we go any further with this, are there any stipulations or concerns that we need to make as part of our resolution?
Driveway usage.
Okay. Someone want to make?
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve the permit, special use permit for Jonathan Ross, 20 Welch Avenue. Application of Jonathan Ross, owner Jonathan Ross, seeking special use permit to operate a fishing tackle business located at 20 Welch Avenue, Holly, New York, 14470. This business planned to be housed in an existing outbuilding on the property. This is an RL zoning district, tax account number 019.04-2-15, with the stipulation that the primary driveway is used for business and the secondary access not used.
I'll second it.
Call the votes, please.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Mark Bellerstein, James Nesbitt. Steve Hittner.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, would you have proof of the publication for the public hearing we opened last month for PEM LLC, 1722 Lake Road? Keith, do we need to read that
I
again?
do not have that file with me.
Okay,
No.
okay. Last month there was a continuation, there was some concerns and some additional thoughts that were brought to bear as part of some of the residents' concerns. That being said, I'll open it back up for any more public input. Is there any concerns, questions?
You have
Go
something?
ahead.
Hey, Chris. John Card, 1753 Lake Road. I just made a couple of notations on the minutes from the last meeting, just editorial things. And I did talk to Cheryl about the impervious surfaces, and I guess the limit is 75%, not the 66 or what was we discussed last time. So that issue appears to have gone away. So with respect to that.
Is there somebody here from PEM?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don Lewis, with Marathon Engineering, representing Lou Ternoli. He's with Quickly's here with me tonight. I know we provided some comments and revisions to the plans for the last planning board meeting, some of the concerns, and I believe we've addressed all those and provided plans back to Cheryl for distribution for everyone to review.
Can you outline some of the issues?
Absolutely, absolutely. I know there was a question about the fence and the location of where it terminated along the church's property. And even though this rendering shows it outward, we showed it in the last planning board meeting, there was a question from one of the church members that came in, and I think they talked with people here at the town. And then also we conveyed that to the owners. And it has been terminated, the fence we're showing terminated back in the southwest corner of the property. They didn't want a fence around the church property at all. So that's where we have it shown on the current plans. We have it terminated back to that corner.
And there was some concern about snow removal.
That's correct. We have snow removal shown, and not only the stormwater, we can contain that within the stormwater management facility. There's a place over here between these trees that we had outlined, and then also up in the front.
Okay. JP.
Yeah, engineering issues have been addressed. They gave us a letter of credit, we've reviewed that, and that was acceptable. And then the remaining changes were really precipitated from public hearing comments. So I'm all set.
So that means there was gonna be some establishment of lateral locations for existing
Yep,
properties.
correct. That's been addressed in notes on the plans. And we have the letter of credit for the sewer relocation work. So, and they're gonna televise it, which is all notated on the plans. So, all set.
Okay, Keith?
I have no additional concerns.
I know one of the other concerns was with the northern property boundary and more of a delineation along this to separate the sea of pavement that goes across. And we provided boulders spaced out 8 foot on center, so it wouldn't allow vehicular traffic between the two properties. We've already shown on the plan, we'd already shown pea stone gravel to delineate the two properties, but then we added the boulders as well to really demarcate it. There was, we had options of bollards or fencing or boulders, but we chose the boulders because the more attractive
How large is the
solution.
boulder?
Pardon me?
How large is the boulder? If you're 8 foot on center, you still drive a car through.
You're talking boulders. 3 foot, 4 foot boulders, 8 foot on center.
You're talking
Dolomite
quarry
stone.
stone or?
Quarry stone.
So
Dolomite
cubic
stone.
yard anyway.
Yeah.
2.5 yards.
Yeah. Not big enough for a person to move, obviously. Not enough for a car to move. Damaged, yeah.
Where are we at this time with impervious surface?
We are at 73% with a maximum of 75. So we're under the maximum.
And it's still a reduction from existing conditions.
Yeah, the existing condition was 89% impervious.
What are the times for the vacuum and the car wash?
Those are also noted, the times were noted in the in the plan, the utility notes and the site notes.
But what are they?
I believe 10 PM.
Excuse me, Lou Terranoli with Quicklies. The car wash and the back usually close at 10 p.m.
I know, because we were here. I wrote down that I had made the change, but didn't tell what the change was. It's on the plans that were provided, sure.
What about volume of loudspeakers, if there are any, or, when someone's done with a car wash, exiting warning, is it gonna be done with a tone, or is it gonna be done with, an arrow board or something like that?
Even when the car is done with the car wash on the inside, they'll be notified on the inside of the wash that they can proceed. While the wash is happening, both the front and the rear doors are closed.
Didn't we discuss Sunday mornings also with a closing time?
We did, and I thought we worked ourselves around to like, it would be very difficult to do, and I know the individuals from the church out here, and they were okay with that, if I'm accurate in my memory. But we did discuss it, and thought, operationally it'd be hard to say that we're gonna close it. And we provided some information on the sound that it really wouldn't be affecting the parishioners at all if it was being used. And typically they're later afternoon, early evening type hours for a piece of time.
What was it, your fence there on the east side of your property there? What's the material?
We said vinyl.
White vinyl.
That'll hold up to the weather?
We feel it is one of the better materials for that. And if it ever was not holding up, we're a local company rather than we would provide the proper maintenance, so it would always be top notch.
What was the height on that fence?
6 foot.
And it's far enough away from the pavement, so even if there were plowing activities, that you wouldn't end up damaging the fence. It's not like you're ever plowing up against it.
How far apart are your posts on the fencing? 4 foot, 6 foot, or?
No, I believe they're 8 foot on center.
I think they're 8 foot.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I think I got the one question everybody wants to know, what's a donut vendor?
Well, we're speaking with Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, geez, I wanted Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
One check.
We'll get Tim Duncan. Mark, we have a serious comment of some sort.
Oh, no, I'm good with it. We're in good shape.
Steve, last month, a question was raised by yourself about wastewater from car wash and stuff. That's gonna go directly into the sanitary sewer?
That's correct.
Is it biodegradable? Any of the soaps and all of those stuff is environmental friendly?
It is environmentally friendly because we usually have it into the system as we just described.
We do, the system will have, each bay has its own oil water separator, so you get all your sediments in each one of those chambers. So you just get effluent out the top that goes in this.
And what do you use for a maintenance schedule for those?
As needed.
Well, in having how many places you must
I
have some kind of.
wish I had one of my operations people here to give you an accurate answer. I just don't, I just don't know the answer to this.
Well, I guess I kind of like that to be part of your business plan, you can say as needed and stuff, but if there becomes a problem with a local manager or something else like that, we want to have the ability to direct you to, your maintenance people to address it.
Whatever language you would feel comfortable in getting, if you were disposed to approve that, could be fine.
Okay, very good. there anything else? I'm gonna beat this one to death a little bit, taking a hard look at it. This time, I'd probably entertain, closing the public hearing at this time. We've asked a lot of questions and had a lot of input from the public, and that is always good. One other aside to that is, while it's still a public hearing is open, as far as notifications, I urge people to look at the Hamlin newsletters that are out there, our newspaper. All our agendas are on our website, okay? And in dealing with the U.S. Postal Service, the issues that happened in this incident were directly caused by the U.S. Mail and the Postal Service and the lack of personnel to respond in an adequate manner. We took a real hard look at it. Okay. So hopefully things will get better. And with that, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing for 1722 Lake Road.
Second.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Fellerstein,
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Okay, secret.
We already did secret.
Okay, that's.
Would you like a regular motion?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, I'd like
We
to,
did do it.
I'd like to suggest that we approve the application of PEMM LLC owners, Denali Excelsior LLC and PEMM LLC seeking final commercial site plan application approval to merge the two properties at 1722 to 1730 Lake Road into one parcel and construct a new convenience store with a gas canopy, car wash, and vacuum stations. This is in the CGB zoning district, tax account number 021.03-3-2.1 and 021.03-3-28. And the documents that were submitted for review was a new revised site plan. Do we want to make a stipulation about the grease grit being inspected annually? Okay, I'll make that stipulation.
Also, there'd be some shared snow storage access between the church and this business.
That's true, we did talk about that. And stipulate that there be a shared snow storage with the adjoining church.
Second.
Full vote, sure.
Linda Drew,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yep.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Mark Fellerstein,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Yes.
Okay, welcome to Hamlin.
Looking forward to being there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Make sure you see Cheryl.
When do you plan on starting?
We're hoping, end of July, beginning of August.
Hello.
You know, there's still supply chain issues out there on materials, but, we do have been talking to a contractor, so we'll get going as soon as we can.
Never done by Christmas?
I know my people would like me to have it done by Christmas, so I can tell you that for sure.
Okay. Sounds reasonable. Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Hamlin.
Okay, next item on the agenda is 6348 Shore Acres Drive Conservation Corridor permit. Somebody here for that? Oh, I'll be going. Do you want to do a brief?
Sure, I'm Black, and I'm just looking to put up a shed. We've got a vacant lot across the street, not on the house side, but on the other side, there's between a pond and the street. Just looking for some more area, you know, basements and stuff down there. So just looking at, yeah, exactly.
Okay, Janine, we had a brief discussion on the location of the shed, and
Well, on the paperwork that came with the DEC permit, it showed that the shed was, there was a sort of a site plan, a map, that showed that the shed was about 35 feet from the pond. Now that it's springtime, I went out today and measured it, and it's now about 25 feet from the pond. So I don't know whether there's concern about flooding issues. Were you there in 2017 or 2019 when we had flooding?
Yeah, I was.
How was that area at the time?
So there was one year where it sort of around that area, for probably a couple weeks, there was basically a good amount of standing water. I mean, you were probably only talking in that area, maybe an inch or two. The way I have everything constructed or planning to construct it is to basically build a wood box, with plywood, and then put the shed on top of that. I have planning to put the box basically on essentially like a deck or concrete, blocks or stands. So it'll be I think minimum of 3 feet off the ground, or 3 inches off the ground, sorry, from the bottom of the box itself. So I don't foresee any issues. Even if there is flooding there, it's never going to get to the level where it's actually going to be in contact at all with the wood box of the shed or the floor of the shed. So.
Is it movable if there was an issue?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's essentially.
You sure wouldn't want it to float into the wetland?
Yeah. No, definitely not. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the box framed, pressure treated?
Yep.
So I'm looking at the dimensions on this one sketch that we have, and it's a 102-foot property line, it's 83-foot setback. You're not gonna get 35 feet to the pond.
Yeah,
So how does that work?
Yeah, so the road is obviously straight, where the pond is, there's a curve, so, from day to day, the actual level where the water is, can be in a little farther away from a little farther. As far as,
Well, was that a requirement to have a 25-foot or 35-foot separation or distance?
Well,
There's just a suggestion?
and actually in the conservation overlay, they suggest a 100-foot buffer, but nobody on Shore Acres has 100-foot buffer from the pond.
Yeah, you would be off your property.
So I'm just going by what came with the paperwork that came with the DEC permit that showed it was 35 feet, and they approved that.
Doesn't agree with this then? This drawing.
yeah, so I guess I essentially, sort of pick the distance, based on how the ground is, sort of sloped and everything. There's a tree in one area.
Mm-hmm.
And if I sort of moved it in one way, the tree would sort of be in the way from like opening and closing the shed doors, so.
It wouldn't be too useful, would it?
No, not really.
The other thing to remember is this dotted line that's plotted is probably generated off, a New York. This looks like a Schultz drawing to me. I see Daryl Mosers.
It matches pretty well with the
with the aerial, but a lot of times those lines are very vague and drawn at a scale that is suspect, I guess.
So my only comment is if that's 83-foot setback and it's a 15-foot deep shed, you're in the water. So something's not adding.
Well, rather than worry about that, why not just measure off of the frontage on Shore Acres and set a setback from there? 50 feet or something like that.
Oh.
So the water is going to ebb and flow, rise and fall. That's what it is.
Janine, do you have scale drawing from the DEC as part of that?
Do you have this drawing?
What the one you showed me?
Yeah, do you have that?
It was in my
But I don't know if it's to scale.
No, I don't.
We don't have that.
We don't have what you have with, and that came from the DEC, right?
It was,
No, I think this came
It's the one-
from Michael.
Well, that was right, but I saw something
I'm
else.
talking about, that's the roof drawing.
I do not have that. That's something.
Was that in the DEC packet?
Well, it's the
That could be
package
why.
you gave me, I don't
Yes.
know.
Well, if, I guess if this is,
Yeah, that's a DEC
if
packet.
this is
yeah.
to scale, the drawing, it appears to be a 50 scale drawing that has Daryl's, corner of Daryl Moser's stands on it. The shed is not drawn to scale at all. The shed is shown as probably 20, 25 feet in length. It's not drawn to scale. So the little sketch of the shed there is, if you took a scale of this, it's probably, if you went to that 83 feet, you'd only be going back.
You'd be going to the water's edge.
I'd be going 98 feet, and the water's only 102, so it's only 4 foot away.
Yeah, but I'm not real confident that 83 dimension is drawn to scale either.
Right.
Oh, agreed, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't, I
Yeah,
think the
it's
whole
not.
thing, if it was drawn to scale,
NTS,
yeah,
not to scale.
yeah.
Yeah, I basically took a site map that I had and, did an approximation, so. Right.
I think if that
Did
end,
you measure from the edge of pavement?
Yep.
Well, that'd kick it even more back this way because this is right away.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Not
big
edge of- Not
difference.
edge of pavement, so it's just a not to scale, exactly.
right.
Okay, so it all comes closer to the road.
Question, does it already exist?
So I basically have the box itself, just sort of in the area. Outside of that, no.
Right. I just, because the way you guys were talking, I thought maybe it was already existing. And
Yeah, it's just sitting there in the spot. It's, if need be, I can move it, but, that's all there is right now, so.
Do you want this? Do you wanna see this?
Not necessarily, because I'm pretty sure with the way it's being described now is, even though it's not the scale on the drawing, the DEC wants us to make a determination that it is similar in nature to other sheds that are in that area.
Well, I actually borrowed Cheryl's little roller thing and I measured from the pond and looked over at the neighbor to the west. And their shed is almost at the road. That was 99 feet from the pond. And the neighbor to the east has a garage and they were 56 feet from the pond. So this is, I mean, for this area, I mean, there's a garage.
But we don't know if that pond elevation is always going to be at that elevation. It could be less or more.
Right.
The conservation corridor overlay, which is that kicks in this kind of warning so that you're not, getting right into the wetland with any type of structure and causing, issue. And that line was established way after any of these lots were ever established. So we're looking at the least intrusive is what DEC would like us to look at. Okay. Is there any benefit to move it any closer to the edge of the road?
Yeah, there were a couple of reasons why we wanted to put it there. One, the parking on that road there's not a lot of parking, so, during the summer and stuff, if we have people over, sometimes they like to park on the yard. That was one. Two, I just thought if it's sort of under trees, give it a little bit of shade and stuff. The third one was, long-term, like 5 or 10 years from now. Theoretically, I was thinking about maybe putting a garage across the street. In which case, if I did put the shed right near the road, it would essentially be right.
Well, I'm not
there.
saying bringing it all the way near the road. I'm
Right.
just saying bringing it
A little closer.
I think if you look at the aerial photograph, I don't know if everybody has the aerial photograph or not. And you see there's a blue tarp boat there.
Yep.
If you kept it in that same area, obviously to the east, on the other side, you would be in between trees and a pretty good distance from the water under the spherical photograph.
Yeah.
And still not encumber a future garage or parking or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Where the boat is now, it's pretty much in line with it. So.
I think that maybe your 83 feet is just off. And it could be the center of the road or something different, but I don't know.
Looks like he measured from the center line.
Yeah, could be,
Did you measure with the wheel from the pond to the base of the shed?
I measured from the pond to the shed, to the back of the shed, and it was about 25 feet. And then I measured from the other end of the shed to the road, and it was about 80 feet, to the edge of the road.
To the edge of the road,
From the north end of the shed,
okay.
from the base that he had placed on
Well,
the ground.
To me, that's closer to the road than what was initially, because the original drawing by Schultz was going right away, okay? And the edge of the road's 10, 15 feet from their right-of-way line, the edge of the right-of-way. It's still grass, so in actuality, it's not really that 83 feet. Right. From the right-of-way property line. Because that line that's a right-of-way is not pavement, it never is. So.
There's probably a good 15 feet difference.
Yeah, I would think.
And if you actually took this as oil, they should be 4 foot from the water, but you said it's 25 feet.
Right, right. So actually where you located it is gonna be closer to the road.
Than what the sketch is showing.
Than what the sketch is showing. I would guess as part of the application, you might want to accurately locate the shed. I'm not saying get a surveyor out there, but the right of way is 50 feet, okay? So that means if you go to the center line of the road, the edge of the right of way is not edge of pavement. The edge of the right of way is 25 feet from the center of the road. Okay. All right? So then in your permit application, all right, let's get an accurate dimension from the right of, the edge of the right of way. Okay, to where you want to put the shed.
And it sounds like the location you have it in is good, if it's 25 feet from the water's edge.
Yeah.
So just get a proper dimension and we're good. Okay. To match what you had planned.
Right, okay.
Does that sound
I
right?
just have one other comment, and maybe I'm out of line with this, but are you gonna store anything hazardous in the shed?
No, just, lawnmower, garden.
I just thought if there was a spill or something and you're that close to the pond.
Right, yeah, no, I wasn't planning on putting
No
anything
weed
like that.
killer or, any type of enhancements with phosphates or.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Not putting a spill in there or anything.
No. I do beer, but not yet.
Shore Acres Hooch. I can't say we won't have a little bit of fun here now and again.
Yeah, that's good.
Motion?
Well, let's, but I'm still saying 2 foot right away. How about a secret?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we consider the application of Michael and Rachel Black for 6348 Shore Acres Drive, Conservation Corridor Development Permit to be considered a type 2 action under seeker.
Second. Call the rolls, please.
Linda DeRue? Yes. Steve Law?
Yeah.
Dave Martin?
Yes.
Chris Schleider?
Yes.
James Nesbitt?
Yes.
Mark Valentine?
Yes.
Steve Hittner?
Yes.
Okay, resolution for approval.
I'd like to propose that we approve the application of Michael and Rachel Black, owners Michael and Rachel Black, seeking Conservation Corridor Development Permit to add a shed within 100 feet of DEC wetlands located at 6353 Shore Acres Drive. This has DEC approval. All variances have been approved. Tax account number 008.45-1-47. And this is in the SR zoning district and within the floodplain.
Linda DeRue? Yes. Steve Law?
Yes.
Dave Martin?
Yes.
Chris Schleider?
Yes.
James Nesbitt?
Yes.
Mark Valentine?
Yes.
Steve Hittner?
Yes.
Okay, and Cheryl, you want to have an aggregation for the file on this? We'll put in those parameters.
Okay, yeah, can you just, explain it one more time? So if you go from the middle of the road.
Middle of the road,
Okay,
25 feet towards where you wanna put the shed. That's the edge of the right of way.
Gotcha, okay.
So make your dimension from the middle of the road, okay, to the shed.
Gotcha.
All right, subtract 25 feet.
Okay, got it.
JP, are you okay?
You.
Thanks, boss. Very good, very good.
We're all set.
Okay, all right, thanks.
So come see me this week and next week.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is for Mr. Salazar?
Slow,
What is it?
Slow,
Slowzar. Okay, you're walking slow, right?
Very slow. Very slow.
So Dave, number one, should work, X Mylar.
For 131 Victor Lane, Marlon resigning. This was Saggy Nova subdivision, I believe, at one time. Yeah, but just about everybody here was, I think everybody here was here. Yep. There's not any substantial difference, there's still gonna be 2 lots, you're not asking for a combination?
No, it's still 2 lots, and I'm working with the other owner of the other lot that's starting to get ready to do his plan too.
My question would be, have the plans changed in any way since they were originally approved?
At this point here, no.
What other point would there be? I'm not trying to be a smart aleck,
No.
You're asking them to reapprove the original plans.
So the only thing that may change is the garage being on the left side might be on the right side. That's pretty much about it, if there is any changes.
If you allow them to flip the plans.
If I allow them to flip the plan.
Okay.
And we had a discussion, he and I did, about if there's any changes to the plan, there's a possibility they might have to come back.
Okay,
yes,
very well, thank you.
And I guess that'd be up to us to say whether it'd be a significant enough change.
No, it would be up to Cheryl, actually.
Oh, boy.
Some towns,
But you know, significance is arbitrary and capricious.
well, I'm giving you a rule of thumb here. What we generally see, I realize most of you know this, what we generally see on a site plan is a conceptual house. It's not gonna be the exact footprint.
Right.
And in some towns, they understand that some people want the garage on the left versus the right, and it's not a big deal. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Okay, and that's why I wanted to have this further discussion. Okay, can't change the drainage, but, you know, where it's supposed to be,
It would change the driveway though if you shift the garage.
well, it might change the characteristics of the drainage, but is it gonna change?
No driveway, not drainage.
Well, yeah, but if you change the driveway, is it significant drainage change from what it is here? Okay.
If they change the topo, I would think that probably means they have to come back there. Each plan is different. Some plans have a lot of room for the maneuver and others do not.
That's why I like building boxes that show setbacks and all the drainage and stuff are outside of that. Okay.
Yes, I know what you're referring to.
Okay. So if you have some significance, it's you could be asked to see if the drainage pattern that is here is prove that it's either insignificant or it's significant, and then you have to have a town engineer take a look at it, and there might be a cost to that. All right? So I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. So as it is now, we sang this, don't need a public hearing, it's just an approval, reapproval, and re-signing of the drawing. Okay. And as the process unfolds, we're still gonna be under the microscope.
always.
Daddy had a big brother, this is just a little part of it. So, but no, we don't wanna have, someone have a problem with utilities, locations, and all of those stuff. So, this is a brand new drawing, sir.
Yes, went and had it redone.
Yes, he had it redone for you guys.
Anybody here have an issue?
Just that he's my neighbor, that's about my only issue.
For both of you.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you'd have to recuse yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you're talking building one home.
One home.
That's his.
And we're approving site
We
plan.
need any kind of motion to resign?
There has to be a
Somebody else
motion
owns
to
the
approve the
other lot,
resign,
right?
yes. But no secret.
Somebody else owns the other lot.
You don't own.
Yes, no, Richard Hendricks or something like that owns the.
And which lot do you,
The one to the east, which is lot 3,
Or 131 Victor, correct?
131 Victor, yes.
You want a motion to
Chris, yeah,
approve the?
before you sign that, to make a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the resigning of the Mylar for Timothy Slosser, owner Kyle Rad, seeking Mylar resigning for lot number 3, 131 Victor Lane, tax count 029.06-1-2.3. This lot contains 1.47 acres. This was approved on July 2nd, 2018. The proposed plans are to build a new home on 131 Victor Lane. There will be no changes to the approved site plan. Following documents are submitted for review, letter of intent, Mylar to be resigned, consent from owner for representation before the board.
I'll second it.
Linda DeRue,
Yes.
Steve Law,
yeah.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider.
Let me ask this. There'll be no changes of significance to the drawing.
No, there will be no changes to the drawing.
Abstain.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Vallerstein.
No, maybe should I recuse myself on this? He is my neighbor, but I don't think I have to recuse myself, correct? Looking to keep the seat. He's got an opinion on it.
I don't like voting on neighbors' property.
Okay, then I will recuse myself.
Jim Hittner.
Yes.
Motion passes either way.
Yeah.
I know. I would say.
Did you bring the Mylar?
There.
Oh, great, okay, super.
The only thing I ask is if you know Ruth Ann Slosar, do not let her know anything about this place.
Call her up tomorrow.
Well,
You don't need, I
I
don't
hate
need
to
that.
tell you
headache.
this, you're on
I'm glad you
YouTube,
mentioned it.
everybody knows.
Is that your wife? That's his mother.
That's my mother. And yes, I am scared of her.
So am I.
It's called respect, not scared.
Go is here.
She's very
Okay, there's 2 other captive people in this audience here. Yeah.
Oh, we'll
They got there.
do it. Bucket brigade.
I don't have to sign it, do you?
Usually.
I can.
Is there a line for me? Usually there is.
You should have to be there.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Not on TV.
Not on TV.
Thank you very much.
Good idea.
You all set?
Is it?
Yeah.
We're good.
Mother picks out the colors.
Okay. I guess this is, the end of regular business. Anything for the town board?
There's the new AT&T cell towers that was approved at the last meeting. That's going on 100 Moscow Road. In our last meeting, we just approved a moratorium on a large commercial battery storage. That'll give us a year to look into that as far as codes. Liz Spencer will be our new tax assessor. And we're currently taking applications for fire marshal.
Janine?
I don't have anything to report from the Conservation Board.
Supervisor Baz.
Bill just said it all, that's about it.
Thanks for coming to our meeting, by the way.
Well, I was down at the fire department at a meeting before this.
JP.
Only news to report on the sewer project along the lake is we are down to, I think, about 16 residents left that are what we call critical easements that need to sign the easement. It's usually on the private roads, and if one person in the middle of the road doesn't sign their easement, we can't get past them to the remainder of a road. And a lot of those roads are dead ends. So there's about 16 of those left that were between Steve and the attorney, and we've sent second letters out. That's our only hurdle, is getting those last ones signed off.
Are they year-round residents or snowbirds?
I don't know. And there's a lot of folks that haven't signed the easements. We don't, to go into their private property and to install a grinder pump. These ones are just, we can't get the main extended to get the people past you. So when shovels start showing up, those final easements are gonna start coming in. But these ones, the state probably won't even let us bid it until we can complete the project.
You can't tunnel directional
So it's still occupying their property.
Go eminent domain?
Yeah, we can get this project done in 20 years, but if we have to do that for 16 property.
We're just trying to schedule our summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So anyway, that's the only big thing. I think you guys are probably more on top of the status of I think the LWRP is in the hands of mostly in the state right now. So it's out of our court for a while until we hear back from the Department of State. That's what's going on in my items.
Okay, I've, of course, always got to open my mouth one last time. Keith and we discussed this briefly before the meeting. The cell tower on Town Line Road that's in process with us, Walker Lake and Ontario Town Line Road.
Oh, the solar farm.
So, I mean, that's right, solar farm, excuse me. They have not paid any of the fees up to this point that involve review, engineering review, JP's time, helping them redefine a project that we've had a couple meetings at this. I guess at this point in time, discussion with council, that I'd like to have us make a motion that this makes the application incomplete at this time. Basically stopping any clock that they might think that's happening. Because of the non-payment, and we'd like to notify the applicant of that. Okay. Whether or not we start again from ground zero is totally up to them. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that due to lack of payment of town input, town engineer, for the Walker Lake Ontario Solar Farm, Town Line Road Solar Farm, okay, be deemed incomplete.
I'll make a motion to rule the application incomplete for a solar farm on Walker Lake, Ontario Road. What's the address? 1674 Walker Lake, Ontario Road.
Second.
Okay.
All the votes, please.
Cindy DeRue?
Yes.
Steve Law?
Yes.
Dave Martin?
Yes.
Chris Schleider?
Yes.
James Nesbitt?
Yes.
Mark Ballerstein?
Yes.
Steve Hickman?
And in the future, Cheryl, if you feel you're being, there's been some tardiness in bill paying and stuff like that, we support you and the town 100%.
Thank you.
Are the fees significant?
You're in the hundreds of dollars.
That they wouldn't pay it.
Well, you can always hold back a building permit.
You know.
Or, you have other mechanisms later on to not let the project progress.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of wasting time asking people, are you gonna do anything? Gee, you see anything?
Some towns on larger projects, especially the solar projects, because there's so many approval, getting the utility approvals and all those things to go. They're requiring a escrow to be posted for legal and engineering and whatever consulting. So at least they're putting the money up front.
Well, he that opens thy mouth. Okay. Might give us that option and talk about what other towns do and dollar amounts that we might wanna do up front with a project, and if it's significant enough, I wanna make sure that your time, your billable hours are appropriate. And then we get Keith's billable hours.
Yeah.
You know what?
I think we just did a 5 megawatt project. We're in the process with one in Caledonia, and their code allows for an escrow to be posted. And we made them put up 10,000.
Can you get a copy of that?
Sure. Yeah, it's on their solar
codification, because then we can bring it to the other folks that we sit down and when we try to change the rules in midstream on people.
And if you go to general code, their E-code library, you can see the codes of everybody in New York State that works with general code.
And by the time I typed it in about 4 times
Yeah.
and get it right, you can just do it.
Email it.
I've got a favorites button for it because I go to it almost.
He doesn't know you.
Yeah.
I know on the cell towers, we always do the same thing. We make them put an escrow account up with the new one, AT&T, the Cook Road one, they all have escrow accounts to pay so that we get the money.
I know they went and, they were gonna shut down a project down in 19 for $200, but they were down. It's the principle of it.
Yeah. Okay, anybody have a motion for adjournment?
Yeah.
Or do you still wanna have fun?
Let's do it here.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for attendance to the April